Hello, and welcome to another match of Littlewargame. Today I am bringing you a game played by two opponents. The one in the top left, playing the red pieces, yours truly, Neagat, and I am playing against my opponent, BeastBestSt. I don't know how to pronounce that. It's a hard name to pronounce. But as I was saying, I'm playing against my opponent with the blue pieces. We'll go ahead and call him Brave for now. Just wanted to say before I kick off this video, I make daily content. So if you're interested in, daily content or watching daily Littlewargame videos, I make those every day on my channel. And if you want to see those every day, feel free to go ahead and subscribe. Now, I don't know if I've ever played against this opponent. I don't think I've ever featured this player on this particular map before. What I do know, however, is that personally, whenever I go against someone I've never played against, I tend to go for comfort over anything very extravagant at all. So I decided to go for a very comfortable standard opening in this case, and get this castle started up. My opponent does the same, and let's go ahead and check to see if he goes into raider production, which it looks like he does. So both of us queuing up our raiders about the same time, and then Mr. Brave sending back his worker, as well as me sending back my worker to go back and find some more resources. So it looks like we have a very even match going on, especially in terms of what we're going for. This is barracks versus barracks for me typically. Some tips that I like to go for. I like to have my castle on hotkey 1, production on hotkey 2, and then any special units on hotkey 3. So for instance, I have this unit on hotkey 3 and on attack move across the map. And it looks like my opponent has the same idea. It'll be interesting to see who wins this. And it is myself. It's this single raider here that manages to defeat my opponent's scouting raider. At this point, my opponent has already gone for his castle, while I myself am looking to do some harassment. Oh, I hope I control that. No, looks like I didn't. I managed to miss-micro that unit, or have lack of micro that unit, and managed to lose him at that point. For myself, typically what I like to do when I get to this point where I have a raider across the map, I'm doing damage, or at least I'm doing a little bit of harassment, is I like to get this extra supply, start building archers. Let's go ahead and look at, yeah, that's the micro that raiders are known for. I was able to kill 2 of his raiders, only at the cost of 1. Like I was saying, I like to go for these this archer production. Basically what that enables me to do is, if my opponent decides to go for any additional raiders, archers basically shut that down, being able to kill raiders from range. And it does look like that's what my opponent decides to do. He decides to go build another raider and send it across the map. So I'll be able to counter that when that arrives. At this point, I have a little bit more control over my third raider. I don't have too much going on in terms of production, so I have the action per minute to give. But it looks like once I go back to producing, I am able to go back and worry about that. So just like I said earlier, when I get these archers out, it basically enables me to shut down any of his raider harass that he decided to go for. I don't believe I lost any workers, neither has he, but I've been able to kill more raiders than he's been able to produce. At this point, I'm using this raider to make sure that he doesn't have a third base going up. I don't expect that he has too much going on in terms of army, so or I expect him to have some army, so that's why I didn't send the raider in right away. But it looks like he did a very good job of microing his units and being able to kill them. So it looks like the tech for choice, or the tech of choice for my opponent, rather, he goes for is, it looks like he's going for the advanced workshop. Really, the only reason you would want to go for this at that point of the game without scouting is to go for drops. And for myself, I decided to go for mages, starting up this this mage guild rather, and getting that that mage production online as well as a healthy archer ball. At this point, the last game I casted, I believe, if I can remember his name, the last game I casted for yesterday's video was Epic Pants versus. Oh, it may have been Weird Pants. It's either Epic Pants or Weird Pants. I forget. Versus Rhinus. And what Rhinus likes to do is he likes to go for this well, not any strategy that's going on right now, but he likes to go for a mill, and he likes to have some gyrocraft harassment. So what I've basically done is I've set up my archers in a position where I can counter gyrocraft as well as counter any potential airships that he might have. While this is all going on, setting up my third base. Let's go ahead and see if my opponent was able to see that I started that up. Looks like no, he was not able to see that I started at my third base. But regardless, my opponent has done a good job of going up to his third base as well. While this is all happening, transferring workers, getting more supply, as well as countering any harassment my opponent might be going for. This airship does finally arrive from across the map, and it's full of archers, so those 5 archers will definitely be able to kill my 5 archers. So this will be very interesting to try and deal with. While this is all going on, very quickly I wanted to address my opponent got his mage guild up as well, so we're both going for relatively the same tech choices. My opponent was able to, get his workers get his army into some of my workers, and I managed to lose 2 of my workers at that point. Again, my opponent doing a good job of microing back and forth, really putting on this harassment, where I really can't address the fact that he has this army in my main base. So basically what I decided to do at this point is I decided to pull workers, and I think I try and get some of this army. Oh no, I just had to move out. Okay. Strange decision, but fair enough. And then my opponent decides to pick up. Hopefully he sticks around, I think. Because, this is free harassment he could be doing. But that'll be really interesting. Let's go ahead and I'm going to keep an eye on the minimap here to see what happens. But this engagement here, I've got my mages, I've got my soldiers, and got my archers. And basically the idea is once I get a large enough mage composition, I can use those mages to really counter this mech army that my opponent has going for himself. I really should be backing out at this point, but at home, he has successfully dropped in my second base and did a good job at killing some army and distracting me while I was at home. So very good job, well played by my opponent in terms of that. Let's go ahead and look at production. Oh wow, so at this point, my opponent has gone up to 6 barracks while I am on 4 barracks at this point. I'm going for ranged upgrades, or I should be at least at some point. Let's go ahead and see if I do have that. No, I don't. So I should be going for ranged upgrades at some point. And my opponent is going for 5 of these mages. 5 of those mage. Very strong, very capable mage units. Extremely strong, especially against biological units. Well, especially against any clump of units, I think, actually. Oh, and this is probably the strategy that he wanted to go for since the beginning of the game. Brave assembling this rather large clump of mages inside of this one airship, and really setting up a very strong, a very potentially devastating mage drop. The idea behind this kind of play is sending your mages, dropping them into your opponent's base, and really destroying the workers that he has. And so what I basically do is I see this right away. I get my workers, I try and split them up a little bit, and I try and surround his mages and really try and force him to regret trying to move out. Mages do a lot of damage though. Not just their fireballs, but also their auto attacks. They're capable of doing a lot of damage. This was a lot of hurt. I don't think I lost any workers from that though. I may have lost some workers, but again, it's really rough to see when that happens. At this point, I'm thinking, all right, his mages being across the map is pretty devastating already. So I've got to try, and I've got to make the most out of this situation. So I decide to move out, and I've got my mages dealing damage. I've got my archers, doing that DPS. My soldiers here are tanking, and I'm really just trying to do as much damage with this as possible. At the same time, I'm trying to micro my workers back at home. And then at this point, his army that was at his base has now died. So now it's my turn to really start doing damage to his base at this point, especially while rallying these units back home. I wish if I had extra pair of eyes, I wish I could have used these archers to really kill that airship full of mages. I thought I did a good job there, especially on that move out. I think one thing that I could learn is, or one thing that I was able to implement to my play is using these archers defensively. Oh, excuse me, I had a little bit of air backup. There we go. Using these archers defensively to address any possible airship play that my opponent went for, as well as addressing or realizing the fact that my opponent didn't have a lot of army at home to defend with. Also, while moving out, I think it's important to try and get more ahead as possible. So while I was moving out, I decided to get another base, and I decided to get some forges up. And that way I could have been ahead on upgrades while also being ahead on economy. Well, that was all for this replay. If you enjoyed my content, please leave a like. Please subscribe if you want to watch more content. I make videos like this every single day, and I'd be really excited to see you in my next video. All right, guys. Hope you have a good day. Bye bye.